On a quiet evening in 1905, in a tiny apartment in Bern, Switzerland, a young man sat alone at his wooden table, surrounded by unpaid bills, borrowed textbooks, and piles of scribbled papers. Outside, the streets were dark and silent, but inside that cramped apartment, something unusual was unfolding, something that would one day shake the entire world. For hours he had been pacing, stopping only to jot strange symbols onto paper, crossing them out, rewriting them, questioning everything that science had ever believed. No one knew what he was doing. No one cared. He was just a patent clerk, an ordinary worker sorting other people's inventions. Then, suddenly, he stopped pacing. His hand froze above the paper. He leaned forward, heart pounding, as if a hidden door had opened inside his mind. Slowly, deliberately, he wrote down a short, puzzling equation, one that the world would later struggle to understand: E=mc². Who was that young patent clerk? To understand how this moment became possible, we must go far back to the days when no one believed he was special at all. Albert Einstein was born on March 14, 1879, in the quiet city of Ulm, Germany. His parents, Hermann and Pauline, welcomed a baby boy who seemed calm, gentle, and unusually quiet. As the months passed, their worries grew. Albert did not speak. Not a word, not even a sound. While other children babbled happily, Albert watched everything in silence. His eyes followed the movement of light, the sway of shadows, the turning of gears in his father's workshop. He wasn't uninterested, he was observing the world with an intensity far beyond his age. Relatives whispered that something was wrong. His mother feared the worst, but Albert was quietly gathering information, building ideas no one else could see. Then, one day, at almost 4 years old, he finally spoke. A full sentence. "The soup is too hot." His parents were stunned. Why hadn't he spoken earlier? Einstein later said simply, "I had nothing to say." And so began the life of a boy the world once doubted, yet who would go on to unlock the secrets of the universe. Years later, long before Einstein ever touched the equation that would rewrite science, a simple moment in his childhood quietly redirected his life. He was just 5 years old, recovering from an illness, when his father walked into the room holding a small object, one that looked ordinary but felt magical in the hands of a curious child. It was a compass. Albert held it gently, turning it in every direction, expecting the little needle to move freely. But no matter how he twisted or shook the instrument, the tiny arrow insisted on pointing in the same direction, steadfast, unwavering, almost stubborn. Something invisible was controlling it. The realization hit him hard. He stared at the compass with a seriousness far beyond his age. If the needle moved, something had to be making it move. But he couldn't see it, touch it, or hear it. What was this hidden force? That moment ignited a lifelong obsession. Albert became fascinated with the unseen things that operated behind reality, things other children never thought about. It was his first encounter with mystery, the first spark of wonder that whispered, "There is more to the world than what your eyes can see." His parents could not have known, but that small compass had just awakened the mind of a future revolutionary thinker. But curiosity alone wasn't enough to make childhood easy. School, for Albert, was a battleground. In the late 1800s, classrooms were strict, rigid, and unforgiving. Teachers expected obedience, memorization, and discipline. Einstein, however, was different. His mind lived in a world of questions, not answers. He often stared out of the window, lost in thought. He challenged his teachers with questions that sounded strange and unnecessary to them. He preferred understanding over memorizing, and imagination over rules. Some teachers labeled him slow. Others called him a daydreamer. One even said, "This child will never amount to anything." These words stung, but Albert carried something inside him that no insult could crush: a deep, burning curiosity and a stubborn refusal to accept what didn't make sense. He was not a failing student. He was simply a mind out of place, waiting for the right environment to bloom. During these difficult school years, something else entered his life, something that soothed him and opened a new doorway to emotion: music. His mother insisted he learn the violin, and although young Albert resisted at first, everything changed when he discovered the works of Mozart. Suddenly, music became more than practice. It became freedom. When he played the violin, the world made sense. He felt harmony, balance, and beauty, feelings he couldn't find in school. Einstein would later say that if he had not been a physicist, he would have been a musician. The violin became his lifelong companion, a source of peace when his mind grew too crowded with ideas. Albert was growing, quietly, differently, beautifully. His mind was sharpening, his curiosity expanding, and the world around him slowly turning into a puzzle he was destined to solve. By the time Albert Einstein reached his teenage years, his relationship with school had become a silent war. The German education system was harsh, mechanical, and cold, built on obedience, not imagination. Students marched through lessons like soldiers. Questions were discouraged. Creativity was unwelcome. Einstein felt trapped. He didn't dislike learning, he loved it more than anyone, but he hated being forced to memorize facts without understanding the meaning behind them. He wanted to explore ideas, debate, experiment. He wanted freedom to think. His teachers saw him differently. To them, he was a distraction, a troublemaker, a boy who refused to fit in their perfectly shaped box. One teacher, frustrated by Einstein's constant questioning, shouted at him during class, "Your mere presence undermines the class discipline." Another delivered the most painful judgment of all, "Einstein, you will never amount to anything in life." But Albert heard those words the way a mountain hears the wind passing, meaningless, unable to change its shape. Inside, he held on to a stubborn belief: if something didn't make sense, it had to be questioned. That belief would one day change the world. When Einstein was 16, life threw him a sudden upheaval. His father's electrical engineering business collapsed, forcing the family to move to Italy. They left Germany with heavy hearts, but needed financial survival. Albert stayed behind temporarily to finish school in Munich. But he was miserable. Alone, misunderstood, and boxed into a system that suffocated him, Albert made a bold decision, one that shocked everyone. Einstein walked out of school. Not temporarily. Not for a break. He left forever. He never returned to that classroom again. It was a wild, risky move, but he felt no fear. The moment he stepped out of the school gates, he felt something he had been starving for: freedom. He boarded a train to Italy and reunited with his family. But he wasn't running away from education, he was running toward a different kind of learning. One that allowed him to think. In Italy, he spent months reading physics and mathematics on his own, absorbing advanced material in secret. While the system labeled him a failure, his mind was quietly sharpening into something extraordinary. But there was a problem. Without a high school diploma, Einstein could not easily enter a university. Still, he aimed very high: the Swiss Federal Polytechnic in Zurich, one of the best technical schools in Europe. He was only 16. Most students applying were 19 or older. But age meant nothing to him. Einstein walked into the entrance exam with confidence and stunned the examiners with his genius. His mathematics and physics results were exceptional, far beyond his years. He failed the general subjects, yes, but his talent was undeniable. The examiners told him to complete one additional year of schooling in Switzerland, then return. Albert agreed. This was the first time an academic institution recognized his potential instead of rejecting it. A shift was beginning. Einstein was finally approaching the world in which his mind would bloom. After leaving the rigid German system behind, Einstein embraced a new life in Switzerland, a country far more open to free thinking and intellectual independence. At the Aarau Cantonal School, he found what he had been searching for all along: teachers who encouraged reasoning, creativity, and imagination. For the first time, Einstein's mind felt at home. He excelled in physics and mathematics, finishing the one-year program with outstanding marks. More importantly, he gained something he valued even more: a teaching style that made sense to him. The Swiss approach to learning was gentle, flexible, and built on understanding rather than obedience. It shaped him forever. Years later, Einstein would say that Aarau gave him the freedom that Germany never could. At 17, Albert Einstein returned to Zurich and officially entered the Swiss Federal Polytechnic, ready to pursue a diploma in physics and mathematics. The school was filled with bright minds, but Einstein was different. His brilliance didn't shine through discipline but through curiosity. He skipped classes he found boring. He read advanced physics books that were not part of the curriculum. He annoyed professors with unconventional ideas. He studied only what truly fascinated him, and when Einstein was fascinated, he was unstoppable. He spent long nights discussing theories with fellow students. He challenged established scientific beliefs. He questioned everything: light, motion, electricity, energy. Yet despite his talent, he made one critical mistake: he neglected the important people. Einstein rarely tried to impress his professors. He didn't obey blindly, didn't flatter them, and didn't follow the academic rules. As a result, many professors disliked him. Some even saw him as a troublemaker who did not respect authority. This decision would come back to haunt him in a painful way. When Einstein graduated in 1900, he expected to stay at the Polytechnic and become an assistant, a typical path for students who showed promise. But when it came time for recommendations, something devastating happened. Every professor he asked refused. They remembered the young man who skipped lectures, who challenged their ideas, who refused to conform. In their eyes, Einstein was brilliant, but disrespectful. They shut their doors on him. Einstein sent job applications to universities all across Europe. Every letter came back with rejection. Brilliant, but unemployed. Talented, but unwanted. A mind full of ideas, with nowhere to put them. He was 21 years old and drifting. Just as despair began to settle, help came from someone he never expected: a former classmate's father, who admired Einstein's intelligence. This man recommended Albert for a job at the Swiss Patent Office in Bern. It wasn't a university. It wasn't prestigious. It wasn't even related to physics. It was simply a desk job reviewing other people's inventions. But it provided something far more valuable than prestige: time. Long, quiet hours. A peaceful environment. A place where his mind could roam freely. Einstein didn't know it yet, but behind that ordinary desk, he would soon produce the most extraordinary year in the history of science. A year the world would later call Annus Mirabilis, the miracle year. The Swiss Patent Office in Bern was small, quiet, and unimpressive, hardly the birthplace of world-changing ideas. Yet for Albert Einstein, this modest room became a sanctuary. Every day, he sat at a wooden desk reviewing inventions: clocks, engines, electrical devices. The work was simple, repetitive, almost mindless. But Einstein used that to his advantage, because while his hands ensured the office ran smoothly, his mind wandered freely. In that silence, between stacks of paperwork and ticking wall clocks, Einstein began conducting experiments, not with machines, but with his imagination. He called them thought experiments, and they became his greatest tool. His imagination was his laboratory. His mind became the universe. He questioned everything scientists believed to be true. What is time? What is light? Why do clocks behave the way they do? What happens if you chase a beam of light at the speed of light? These questions simmered inside him for years, until finally, in 1905, everything erupted at once. That year, Albert Einstein, still an unknown clerk with no university job, no laboratory, no support, published 4 scientific papers that would revolutionize science forever. This legendary year would go down in history as the miracle year. In March 1905, Einstein published his first miracle paper, proposing that light was not just a wave, as everyone believed, but also made of tiny particles called quanta. This idea shocked scientists. But this paper planted the seed that would eventually give birth to quantum physics, a field that would dominate science for the next century. And this was only the beginning. Just months later, he released another paper, solving a puzzle that had confused scientists for decades: Brownian motion, why tiny particles in water move randomly. Einstein's explanation provided undeniable proof that atoms actually exist, something many people still doubted at the time. A patent clerk had just solved a problem that giants of science couldn't crack. Then came the paper that changed the world. Einstein challenged Isaac Newton's understanding of the universe, an idea that almost no one dared to question. He argued that time and space were not fixed, but relative. That two people observing an event might experience time differently. This was madness to many scientists. But Einstein presented it with clarity: beauty, and mathematical confidence. The special theory of relativity was born. And yet, the world still didn't notice him. His name remained unknown. At least, until he dropped one more bombshell. In a short follow-up paper, Einstein wrote the line that would become the most famous equation in human history: E equals mc squared. Energy equals mass times speed of light squared. With that one stroke of genius, Einstein revealed something breathtaking: matter and energy are the same thing. A cup of tea, a stone, a human being, a star, everything contains unimaginable energy inside it. This was no longer just science. This was a new way of seeing the universe. From a small desk in Bern, a 26-year-old patent clerk had rewritten physics. But he still had no title. No laboratory. No position. No fame. The world didn't yet realize that a revolution had begun. Despite the monumental discoveries of 1905, Albert Einstein remained largely unknown outside a small circle of scientists. He was still the quiet patent clerk in Bern, the same man who had once struggled to find a place in the academic world. His genius was undeniable, yet recognition was slow, and the world was only beginning to catch up. Yet Einstein was not discouraged. Fame was never his goal. He cared only about understanding the universe, about solving mysteries that had puzzled humanity for centuries. And so he continued to work tirelessly, writing papers, thinking, questioning, and experimenting, not in grand laboratories, but in his mind. Einstein's ideas were revolutionary, and the academic world was reluctant to embrace them. Many scientists rejected his theories outright, finding them too radical to accept. Some dismissed him as arrogant. Others ignored his work completely. But there were a few who saw the brilliance behind the man. They began to spread his papers, share his ideas, and praise his insights. Slowly, the tide began to turn. Einstein was invited to lecture, correspond with other physicists, and participate in discussions that would shape modern science. Still, his path to recognition was neither easy nor smooth. He faced skepticism, criticism, and the harsh reality that innovation often comes at the cost of isolation. During these years, Einstein also navigated the complexities of personal life. In 1903, he married Mileva Maric, a fellow student and physicist. Together, they had children, and Mileva supported his work while raising a family. However, the pressures of Einstein's career, the demands of his curiosity, and the unconventional life he led strained their marriage over time, eventually leading to separation. Einstein's personal life was far from perfect, but his relentless pursuit of knowledge never faltered. He balanced family, friendships, and love alongside his scientific explorations, often drawing inspiration from life itself. By 1911, Einstein's work had begun to reach a wider audience. His theories of relativity, once dismissed, were gaining attention. Scientists began to realize that his insights into time, space, and energy were not mere speculation, they were revolutionary truths that demanded serious consideration. Newspapers occasionally mentioned him. Colleagues started to respect his brilliance. And though he remained humble, the world slowly acknowledged that Albert Einstein was not just another scientist, he was a visionary. Einstein's genius was not just in equations or theories. It lay in his curiosity, imagination, and courage to challenge the impossible. He reminded the world that questions were sometimes more important than answers, and that failure, skepticism, and struggle were merely steps on the road to discovery. From the quiet child who spoke late, to the restless patent clerk, to the scientist who rewrote physics, Einstein's journey was a testament to perseverance. It showed that brilliance often grows in obscurity and that the world's greatest minds are forged through curiosity, struggle, and an unwavering belief in the unseen. By the early 1920s, Albert Einstein had moved from relative obscurity to worldwide fame. His theories of relativity had transformed physics, and his ideas about space, time, and energy had challenged centuries of scientific thought. Yet, Einstein remained humble. He never sought fame for himself, only truth, understanding, and the thrill of discovery. In 1921, Einstein received the Nobel Prize in Physics, not for his theory of relativity, which was still controversial, but for his explanation of the photoelectric effect, work that had laid the foundation for quantum theory. The award made him a household name. Newspapers called him a genius, a visionary, even a prophet of science. People around the world were fascinated not just by his ideas, but by the man himself, the wild hair, the thoughtful eyes, the humility and humor that made him approachable despite his brilliance. He traveled extensively, giving lectures, meeting world leaders, and inspiring generations of scientists and thinkers. Yet he never stopped questioning, never stopped exploring, and never stopped imagining. Einstein's influence extended far beyond science. He spoke out against war, oppression, and racial injustice, and he advocated for peace and human rights at a time when such positions were controversial and even dangerous. He fled Germany in the 1930s, refusing to live under the rise of Nazism. Settling in the United States, he joined Princeton University, where he continued his research, supported global causes, and mentored young scientists who would carry forward his revolutionary ideas. Despite his global fame, Einstein remained a deeply human figure. He loved music, particularly the violin, which had been a source of joy since childhood. He enjoyed sailing, walking, and simple pleasures. Friends and family remembered him not only for his intellect but also for his warmth, humor, and gentle spirit. Even in his old age, he retained the curiosity of a child, the same curiosity that had once led him to stare at a compass, question the nature of light, and dream about the universe. Albert Einstein passed away on April 18, 1955, in Princeton, New Jersey. The world mourned a man whose mind had transformed humanity's understanding of the cosmos. Yet his influence did not end with his death. His ideas continue to shape modern physics, inspire new generations, and remind us that curiosity, imagination, and courage can change the world. In his words before his death at Princeton Hospital, he requested that his body be cremated and that his remains be handled quietly, without any elaborate ceremonies. However, after his death, the pathologist Thomas Stoltz Harvey removed Einstein's brain during the autopsy without the permission of his family at the time. Harvey preserved the brain in formaldehyde and later sliced it into more than 200 pieces. He kept some for research, sending small sections to other scientists over the decades. Studies of Einstein's brain were done to try to understand whether there were structural differences that could explain his extraordinary intellectual abilities. Interestingly, the research revealed some unusual features in areas of the brain associated with mathematical and spatial reasoning, but nothing could definitively explain his genius. Despite this, the removal and study of his brain remain a controversial chapter in the story of one of the greatest minds in history. Einstein's life teaches a timeless lesson. Brilliance often begins quietly, grows through struggle, and flourishes when curiosity meets perseverance. From the child who spoke late to the man who revealed the secrets of the universe, Albert Einstein's story is one of wonder, resilience, and the enduring power of the human mind. That's the inspirational story of Albert Einstein. Albert Einstein once unlocked the mysteries of the universe through curiosity, imagination, and courage, and today, we can honor his legacy not just by learning, but by acting. Just as he challenged the world to see beyond the ordinary, let us challenge ourselves to protect our planet, cherish its resources, and fight for a future where knowledge and responsibility go hand in hand. Together, we can be the change the Earth needs, because every small action today shapes the world of tomorrow. Join our Save the Planet campaign, and like, share, and subscribe to inspire others to protect the only home we have.